You've seen some of these books before, and you will see them again. And again. Hello guys, so this is my wrap up for March 2015. I finished reading 8 books this month, and a bit. It's not as good for me as normal, but it's understandable with the way this month started out. So for me, bad, but okay. And hopefully I'll do better next month, because there's other stuff I've neglected to do, but I'll talk about that at the end because it's easier. So I started the month by reading Mind Games by Terry, which is her latest book that came out this month. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. It's a dystopia, a lot about hacking into systems and stuff, and it's kind of virtual reality world, but people can hack them. There's like a corrupt organisation that links to the government, all that dystopia goodness and travesty. It was interesting, and the characters were quite well developed. And there's a review of this book on my blog. There's a review for it, but I'll leave a link down below, like always. So then I read Killing Game by Marcus Sedgwick, and this is a Wild Day book, and I did a review of that. Basically a boarding school, and it's kind of the present day, but something happened a year ago in the circumstances. I think this is the best characters Marcus Sedgwick has ever done, because I often find his characters a bit flat, but I think the characters were really good in this one. Starting motivations for the character wasn't there, because there's like a particular thing this character does. I'm like, why did they do that? Then I read Half Bad by Sally Green. I'm kind of sick of this book already. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Basically, there's a lot of hype for this book, and it doesn't deserve all that hype. It's not like mind-blowing. There's nothing like revolutionarily different or new about this book, and there's a lot of faults with it, and the hype doesn't help it. And it's just won the Waterstones Children's Book Award, and if you can see my video to hear my opinions about that and the various other books that were nominated for the teen shortlist. Oh, it won the teen shortlist, not the whole thing. I've talked a lot about this book. There's a review of it, and there's also the Waterstones Children's Book Prize video going into detail my thoughts about this book. So I don't know if I really have much else to say that I can think of. I'm just repeating myself now. I then read the sequel to Half Bad, which is Half Wild by Sally Green. I gave this 5 out of 5 stars. This was better than the first book, but it's still not like a perfect book, and there's a lot of elements that are bad about this. Like, there's like a love triangle in this series, and one of the triangles is just really, really bad, and lack of any basically, there's not actually a character in that other angle, it's just a plot device. And there's a review of this book, and I won't say much else because I don't want to like spoil Half Bad if you haven't read Half Bad, but there's a review of this, and I'm going to do a book discussion on this book and kind of this series as a whole. I also had the short story that comes with this Waterstones edition of Half Bad, which is Half Lies, and it's a prequel to the first book, basically Gabriel's sister's diary, and I thought it was a nice thing to have and explain a bit about Gabriel, kind of like going more back detail about him. I liked it. I gave it 5 out of stars. Then read The Strange and Beautiful Souls of Ava Lavender by Lesley Walton, and this is also discussed deeply in the Waterstones Children's Book Award Prize video I did about the teen shortlist. I give this 5 out of stars. Whimsical and magical kind of thing, and it's kind of a few generations of women in this family this story kind of tells, and it's mature. I think it reads more like an adult book than a YA book. It's just the main character at the end of the book is a teen. Also, this is set at least 50 years in the past, the early 50s when it ends, I'm pretty sure. It has a lovely cover and a decent story, so win-win. Then I read The Apple Tart of Truth by Sarah Moore Fitzgerald. I gave this 2 out of 5 stars. I also discussed it in the Waterstones Children's Book Prize. It's okay. I think because I read it in this mindset of comparing it to these other books, it doesn't hold up to the other one. Basically, it was a book I wouldn't have read and the writing style is okay, but the characters are okay. Basically everything's okay in it, but I don't know, it's like a teen drama, like it's basically Hollyoaks in book form. This is actually, everything that happens in this book is such a like Hollyoaks thing. I mean, I don't actually watch Hollyoaks anymore. I know basically this girl goes away for a while, she has to come back early because her friends went missing, and that's it. I don't know, I don't want to say anything because I feel like I'll end up saying something that's spoilery, and I guess I don't detest this book enough to be like so fragrant for spoilers like I have in the past, like, because if I really hate a book I don't care about spoiling because I don't want anyone else to read it. The only books I've ever really rated down like 1 star is books that have actually annoyed me in some way, where I feel like no, like, you shouldn't be doing that. Don't know what else to say in case I do spoil it, so I won't say anything else. In case, I don't know, some people might like that, but I don't know, I didn't. Basically, I didn't like the sound of it before I read it, and I wouldn't have bought it, so, except for the video idea, so that I've said this all before. By the way, you guys think, oh, you've only showed these in 2 videos, but they're going to be in a book haul, and I've filmed the book haul already. So, look forward to that. Then I finished reading The Golden Lily by Richelle Mead, which is the second book in the Bloodline series, and I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I just really like Richelle Mead series, and I like this world, and oh, sorry guys, I forgot a book. I finished reading this book after Half Wild, so I forgot to say it because I went on to Half Lies. I finished reading Love Hurts by various authors, but mainly mine, Blackman. This book is a book that does annoy me, but it has talented writers in it, and the good parts of it are good. Basically, this book is like an anthology, but it only has like 5 original stories in it or something. The rest is extracts. 2 are short stories. 1 short story is from an ongoing series. The story doesn't quite make sense unless you've read the other books in the series. It's like Lauren Kate's Falling series it's from. Then another one is a short story by David Levithan that's been in a collection of his short stories before. And the rest is just extracts from random parts in books. Most of this book is just extracts. That annoys me on so many levels because it's very misleading. It does say extracts in the back. It doesn't tell you who wrote what, so you just say, has all this list of really popular writers, and then you go into it and it's only so-and-so is actually in. I've got a review of this book that lists everything, but like James Dawson actually has a story in it. His story was quite good. Mine Blackman has a short story in it, obviously. Her story was okay. Catherine Johnson has a short story in hers, and it was a historical kind of thing, and it's okay. Lauren Dockrell has a story in it. I liked her story, I liked the writing style. I've not read anything else by her. Susie Day had a story in it that featured Tumblr and was quite good. Not just because it featured Tumblr and Sherlock Holmes. It was actually a quite good story. And that's everyone. Yeah, 5 short stories in this massive 500 page book. So I just don't think it's worth the money to like pay that, but if you see it in your library you should read the short stories because the short stories are really good. And like if the short stories hadn't been decent at all, I would have... Basically the short stories are its saving grace, but it's just really annoying. To summarise the short stories, there's a big thing about diversity in this book, like disability, race and sexuality. To the short stories anyway, the rest of the book's just usual YA, it's YA. I've got to say, some of the extracts are really spoiler for the book, because like I read one of them because I'd already read the book, but I didn't read any of the extracts from books that I planned to read because I don't want to spoil myself for a book, and I don't see the point of just reading this random tab bit from a book. I don't know, there's a review where I go into the like real nitty gritty. Like it would have been a cool concept if it had actually all been short stories, so it's a disappointment. So I started reading Heart Shaped Box by Joe Hill, and I'm like over halfway in. I'm like 200. I'm at page 200 and there's like 360 pages in this book. It's basically a guy buys a ghost off the internet. This is Joe Hill's debut novel, and I've read his other book Horns, which I really liked. So far I'm not liking it as much as Horns. The concept isn't as good, but I still like it. So that's everything this month, and to summarise the wall of stuff, I posted reviews all on time, and I wrote a little bit this month. That's everything that I have to say to you right now. I will see you on Friday with the predictable match book haul. Bye. This is a wrap up for January and February.